question number 13 I guess. ठीक है, now we'll proceed towards question number 14 and this question is on partnership concept लेकिन उसके अंदर retirement of a partner. In this case there will be 2 or 3 partners, one partner is retiring and we are only going to account for the event of retirement. We are not doing final accounts, बराबर. Normally we only do the accounting for before partnership and after, before retirement and after retirement we do not do accounting entries and find the sales, profit, cost. ऐसा हम लोग कुछ find नहीं करते. ठीक है, let us read the question please. On 31st March 20, ठीक है, the balance sheet of P, Q and R, that is as good as saying 3 partners, is as follows and they are sharing profit and losses in proportion to their capital. So can I say their PSR is 2:3:2. That is nothing but the profit sharing ratio on the basis of their capitals. ठीक है, then you have normal creditors, you have land, you have plant, you have stock, debtors, cash. It's a regular balance sheet, no complication. आगे बढ़ेंगे. ठीक है, on 1st April always compare the retirement of date. It is generally the first day of the new accounting period. It is the same in this case. 31st March का balance sheet दिया है, 1st April को sir retire हो चुके हैं. ठीक है, and who is retiring? Mr. P is retiring. That is the first partner, Mr. P. ठीक है, he desires to retire from the firm and the remaining partners decided to carry on the business and to revalue assets and liabilities as follows. We have done n number of questions where in the case of admission or retirement or death we always do the assets and liabilities का revaluation because the revaluation figures का जो भी difference है that difference का जो profit gain होता है that pertains to all the partners and that is sitting in the revaluation account and that goes to partners cap in their PSR. So we always do assets and liabilities ka revaluation because whatever gains are happening till the date of retirement that belong to all the partners. ठीक है, land and building appreciate by 20%, that goes to revaluation credit side. Plant and machine depreciate 30%, reval debit side. Stock of goods at 10,000, stock appears to be 12, करना है 10 पे, the difference of 2 goes to revaluation debit side. Old balances of creditors 2000 is to be written back. मतलब these creditors are no longer payable. It is a gain, that is revaluation credit side. ठीक है. Provisions of bad debts is 5%. It's a cost. So revaluation account पे debit side पे जाएगा 5% of debtors and that is 5% of 11,000. ठीक है. JLP तुम्हारा favorite. JLP of the partners surrendered and cash obtained 7550. First tell me why is it surrendered? Is it surrendered or is it matured? The answer is surrendered because it's a joint life policy. Nobody is dying. P जो है वो firm छोड़ के जा रहा है, दुनिया छोड़ के नहीं. So Mr. P is retiring. So we are going to surrender the policy because the policy is not going to have a value because policy will mature only in case of death of any of the partners. Once a policy is surrendered, you will only get the surrender value. And in the absence of information, we'll assume that the premium must have been paid from the firm. In which case, the entire surrender value of 7550 will be going to partners capital account in PSR or it can simply go to reval account also because ultimately reval profit, reval losses are ultimately going to be transferred to partners cap in their PSR. So directly तुम partners capital में डालो या फिर तुम revaluation के through partners cap में डालो, वो एक ही आंसर आने वाला है. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Goodwill of the entire firm is 14,000. ठीक है, is 14,000. ठीक है, and P's share is adjusted in the accounts of Q and R. That is as good as saying internal capital adjustment. Goodwill will not be physically paid or brought in तो होगा नहीं because admission नहीं है. ठीक है, who would share the profits equally. Can I say the new PSR between the partners is 1:1. That is between Q and R. ठीक है, no goodwill being raised. We have done many sums like this. What we'll do is we will raise the full value of goodwill among the old partners in the old ratio, that is partners credit. Then we will write off the full value of goodwill amongst the new partners in the new ratio and knock off करने के बाद the internal adjustment will ultimately be in the gain ratio. ठीक है, total cap of the firm is to be the same as before, appears to be 20 plus 30 plus 20, that is 70,000. This 70,000 has to be the capital of the firm, meaning this 70,000 should be the closing balances of the partners and normally it is in the PSR and individual capital is in their PSR, which means 70,000 is going to be split between Q and R as 35 and this is going to be 2 balance carried down in the capital account. ठीक है, amount due to Mr. P. Why is amount due to Mr. P? Because P is retiring, we have to settle his account. This settlement is done on the following basis: 50% on retirement. जो भी P के ledger में, P के account में, sorry, balancing figure होगा, उसका 50% is what we'll pay in cash, and the balance within 1 year, the balance will be transferred to his loan account, and that will appear in the balance sheet liability side as normal outside loan. This is not his capital because he is no longer a partner. करना क्या है? Prepare reval account, prepare cap account, prepare cash account, balance sheet of the new firm, that is on 1st April, that is after retirement. Note that retirement has happened on the same date, that is 1st of April, and we have to prepare the balance sheet on 1st April itself. So we are not going ahead by 1 year or 6 months or 3 months to find the new firm's profit. We are simply preparing a balance sheet immediately after the event of retirement. ठीक है, सो काफ़ी अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. इट्स अ गुड सम टू रिवाइज फॉर लास्ट डे बिकॉज इट हैज़ JLP, इट हैज़ रिवैल्यूएशन, इट हैज़ न्यू PSR, इट हैज़ योर कैपिटल का एडजस्टमेंट एज वेल. सो एवरीथिंग इज देयर. इट्स अ गुड सम टू रिवाइज क्विकली ऑन द लास्ट डे फॉर रिविजन. ठीक है, so let's get started. We will prepare partners cap account, we'll prepare reval account, we'll prepare cash, and we'll prepare balance sheet. And let us start. So my process is first transfer partners capital, then you adjust the general reserve if any, then you have to go for revaluation, then you have to go for goodwill ka adjustment, and then once everything is done, last May we will settle Mr. P and then do the capital adjustment. Hopefully और thankfully यहाँ पे entries नहीं है. entries थोड़ा boring हो जाता है, बट अच्छी बात है, देयर इज नो एंट्रीज हियर, सो विल डायरेक्टली स्टार्ट विद द पोस्टिंग. ठीक है, सो स्टेप बाय स्टेप वी विल फर्स्ट स्टार्ट फ्रॉम ट्रांसफरिंग द ओपनिंग बैलेंसेज ऑफ द पार्टनर्स इन पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट, दैट इज बाय बैलेंस ब्रॉट डाउन 20 30 20, that is given directly in the question, no complication. Then any existing GR जो है नहीं, any existing profit loss debit balance वो भी नहीं है, so we can directly go on with the revaluation. Land and building appreciate by 20%, so 20% on 30,000 appears to be a gain of 6,000, and that gain is visible here. Land and building credit side 6,000. ठीक है, then we have plant and machine depreciated by 30%. Plant and machine is 20,000, 30% is 6,000. Again 6,000 will come on the debit side as a cost because it's a loss on revaluation. Partners will bear it. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे. Stock of goods is 10,000. Stock appears to be 12,000. It is becoming 10,000. It's a loss of 2. So your revaluation debit side 2,000. ठीक है, then we have old balances of creditors. It's a gain because it's a amount now no longer payable, and amount no longer payable मतलब अपना benefit हो जाता है. So revaluation account credit side a gain of 2,000. ठीक है, then we have bad debts. Where is debtors? Debtors is 11,000. 11,000 के ऊपर 5% appears to be 550 है मेरे ख्याल से 550. That's a loss obviously because it's a provision, it's a cost. So revaluation account debit side ये भी अपना आ गया. So all the 5 items of revaluation are sorted: land, plant, stock, creditors, bad debts. Then comes your favorite, joint life policy. As we have discussed, this is a policy surrender. There are 2 possible options: either take the entire 7550 in the PSR in the partner's capital, or you take it to revaluation, and revaluation के through it is ultimately going to go to partner's capital. So कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा नहीं. I think ICA has taken here, so we can post the amount here because it's a gain. It's a partner's cap में तुम्हारे partner's cap में तुम्हारा ये हो जाएगा, तुम्हारा ये हो जाएगा, credit हो जाएगा. So it's on the credit side because it's a gain, and that is how the posting is done for the revaluation. So अपना JLP भी हो गया. ठीक है, अब बचा गुडविल. नाउ गुडविल का व्हाट वी हैव डन इन ऑल आवर क्लासरूम सेशंस, व्हाट द सेम मेथड इज व्हाट आई विल डू हियर ताकि तुमको कंसिस्टेंसी मालूम पड़े. वील ऑलवेज हैव 3 कॉलम्स फॉर 3 पार्टनर्स, and what we have done is we have always done this format. We will raise, what is the value of goodwill? Total capital, the total of the entire firm is 14,000. So we will raise 14,000 in the old ratio, and we will write off 14,000 in the new ratio. So old ratio is 2:3:2. So 4 6 4 4,000 6,000 4,000. This is P, Q and R, and right, and this is all credit, and this will be debit. P में कुछ आएगा नहीं, and it is equal. So 7,000 and 7,000. So it is going to be 4,000, it is going to be 1,000, and it is going to be 3,000. 4,000 is going to be credit, Q is going to be debit because debit is higher, and this is also debit, that is 3,000. So my entry becomes Q capital account debit 1,000, R capital account debit 3,000, to P capital 4,000. This is how the net adjustment has been done, and this is definitely in the gain ratio. It works out to be in the gain ratio because we are knocking off old and new, and the difference between old and new is always the gain or the sacrifice ratio, as the case is. So we'll go to Mr. P account and credit rupees 4,000. So go to P account and credit rupees 4,000, which is sitting here, and then we'll debit Q and R by 1 and 3,000. So debit Q and debit R by 1,000 and 3,000. So we have done the goodwill का adjustment as well. ठीक है, अब क्या बचा अपना, goodwill भी हो चुका है, अभी सेटलमेंट वील डू लास्ट में, एंड टोटल कैपिटल फॉर माय कैपिटल एडजस्टमेंट वो भी लास्ट में होगा. सो व्हाट वी विल डू नाउ इज वील गो टू रिवैल्यूएशन अकाउंट and close the reval account. The balancing figure of 7,000 appears to be on the debit side. That means it is a gain, and that is going to be transferred in the old PSR as usual, and this will also be coming in the partner's capital as 2,000, 3,000 and 2,000. Let us verify that 2,000, 3,000 and 2,000. So we have done this as well. ठीक है, अब क्या बचा, अब वी हैव डन द ओपनिंग बैलेंसेज, वी हैव डन द रिवैल्यूएशन, वी हैव डन द गुडविल एज वेल. नाउ वी विल ओनली गो फॉर सेटलमेंट ऑफ मिस्टर पी. Balancing figure of P, so 26,000 is total here, 26,000 is here, and the settlement is 50% now and 50% loan, which means 13,000 being 50% is through cash bank, and the remaining 13,000 is through P's loan account, and that is how we settle Mr. P. तो P का settlement भी हो गया. Only one thing is left about the capital adjustment. Now the total capital of the firm should be the same as before. We have discussed this. Total capital of the firm was 70,000, and this is going to go in the PSR, and that is going to be partners capital account में 2 balance carried down. So 35 will be 2 balance carried down. ये भी अपना हो गया, the 2 balance carried down 35, and all we are left to do in the partners capital is simply balance them and find the balancing figures. In this case rather, the balancing figures are coming on the credit side, which means the partners will have to bring cash in order to make their capitals proportionate, and in order to make the payment to Mr. P for rupees 13,000, and that is how the amount of 3,000 and 16,000 is arrived, and that is the end of partners capital account as well, and all the adjustments as well. ठीक है, वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन. अभी क्या बचा अपना, ऑल वी हैव टू डू इज, क्या क्या पूछा है, लेट अस चेक. अपना रिवेल अकाउंट इज डन, अपना कैप अकाउंट इज डन, cash is what we'll prepare, and balance sheet is what we'll prepare. Cash is very simple. We'll have opening balances, we'll have the cash brought in by the partners, we'll have the cash coming through the JLP, and we have the cash that we have to pay to Mr. P for settlement, and we'll get the closing balance. So let us verify that. We start from the opening balance. Opening balance will come from the balance sheet. Let's verify that it is coming from year 7,000. ये हो गया अपना ओपनिंग बैलेंस. ओपनिंग बैलेंस के बाद वी विल गेट कैश ऑफ द जॉइंट लाइफ पॉलिसी का सरेंडर, दैट इज 7,550. ठीक है, देन वील गेट कैश फॉर मिस्टर क्यू एंड मिस्टर आर, विच बैलेंसिंग फिगर्स जो आए थे फॉर कैपिटल एडजस्टमेंट, दैट वाज 3 and 16, एंड देन वी विल पे मिस्टर पी हु इज द रिटायरिंग पार्टनर, बट वी विल पे हिम ओनली फॉर 13,000 because the remaining 13,000 are still with the firm as a loan, and obviously balancing figure is going to be the closing cap, and this is going to appear in the balance sheet after retirement. Done. So अपना कैश अकाउंट भी हो गया. Only thing left is the balance sheet. That is pretty simple. We will start from the capitals. Obviously capitals will come 35 जो अपना closing balance था in the partners capital, which we have done the adjustment for. The question had clearly mentioned the capital of the firm, of the new firm, should be 70,000. This should be in the PSR. This 35 and this 35 being equal PSR will obviously come in the balance sheet. Then we have the creditors. This amount of creditors is nothing but 8,000, ये 8,000 कैसे आया? 10,000 तुम्हारा ओरिजिनल बैलेंस था एंड 2,000 was the write off or the gain, that is my 8,000. Then Mr. P's loan account, that is 13,000, that was one more balancing figure in P's ledger because आधा was paid and the remaining आधा will appear in the firm as a loan account. Don't put this amount in P's capital. P has retired, तो ये capital नहीं है, ठीक है. लैंड बिल्डिंग विल कम एट द रिवैल्यूड फिगर्स, प्लांट एंड मशीन विल कम एट द रिवैल्यूड फिगर, स्टॉक ऑफ गुड्स एट द रिवैल्यूड फिगर्स, देन वी हैव डेटर्स एट द रिवैल्यूड फिगर्स एंड द बैलेंस ऑफ द बैंक इज गोइंग टू कम फ्रॉम ईयर, ये वाला, एक मिनट, दिस अमाउंट, because that is my closing balance of cash. In case cash account ka balancing figure, I mean cash account was not asked, then we would show a small working note. We would do 7,000 plus 7,550 plus 3,000 plus 16,000 minus 13,000 and we would have arrived at this figure which would have ultimately come in the balance sheet year, and the balance sheet is going to tally for obvious reasons. ठीक है, तो ये अपना हो गया, ये अपना हो गया द क्वेश्चन ऑन रिटायरमेंट. Decent question, not very difficult, but yes, a good question to revise because it has JLP and it has capital being in the proportion of their PSR and normal goodwill तो हर समय तुम्हारा आएगा ही. Now in the next session we will be starting with question number 14 and onwards. Oh sorry, 13, 14 is done. So 15 and onwards, and I can see a question on non-profit organization. ठीक है? So next session में we'll be starting from question number 15, and I think 15, 16, 17 तुम्हारा एक ही session में खत्म होना चाहिए, और I'll break the sessions depending on the length of the video. ठीक है? See you guys in the next session. Bye bye.